let us take a little journey through Dr. Jeffrey Holland's famous Musket Fire talk at BYU.
I'm going to speak of the future, this future of BYU, but one anchored in our distinctive past.
He then tells the story of a very academically distinguished faculty candidate who chose BYU over other, top-ranking universities because he wanted to help students to hear the distant chorus of when, quote, "the citizens of Zion shall come forth with songs of everlasting joy." And therefore, it's very painful to get this kind of letter that he's about to read.
It seems that some professors, at least the vocal ones in the media, are supporting ideas that many of us feel are contradictory to gospel principles. Several parents have said they no longer want to send their children here or donate to the school.
He then goes on to quote himself 41 years prior, saying,
"At a university, there will always be a healthy debate regarding a whole syllabus full of issues. But until we all come to the unity of the faith and have grown to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, our next best achievement will be to stay in harmony with the Lord's anointed, those whom he has designated to declare church doctrine and to guide Brigham Young University as its trustees."
So basically that was an overly verbose, roundabout way of saying that whatever comes from the top church leaders is not material that's up for debate at BYU. Now we're coming to the metaphorical musket fire part of the talk. So content warning, he quotes Dallin H. Oakes from 2017, and Dallin H. Oakes in turn was quoting Neil A. Maxwell. So it's three men in a row thinking it's a good idea to say what he says here.
And I quote, "In a way, Latter-day Saint scholars at BYU and elsewhere are a little bit like the builders of the temple in Nauvoo, who worked with a trowel in one hand and a musket in the other. Today, scholars building the temple of learning must also pause on occasion to defend the kingdom." Then Elder Oakes said challengingly, "I'd like to hear a little more musket fire from the temple of learning." He said this in a way that could have applied to a host of topics in various departments, but the one he specifically mentioned was the doctrine of the family and defending marriage as the union of a man and a woman.
Then he says that on this whole same-sex topic, that's how he put it, that he and his brethren have spent more time and shed more tears on the subject than they could ever adequately convey.
To that I say, I don't know. I don't feel that love. I don't feel, if you have tears, look at my scars. And how dare you say in the same speech that you don't want us showing too much support, you don't want us speaking our truth in ways that are not against the gospel of Jesus Christ or the doctrines of the church, but then also say that you love us and that the world can be so cruel.
He says that balance in this situation consists of ensuring, quote, that love and empathy do not get interpreted as condoning and advocacy. This part made me angry. First of all, because how can he empathize with what he's asking of gay people? The church asks gay people to have no romantic love of any kind in their lives for their entire lives. And how can he sympathize? How can he empathize with that as a straight man who got to marry whoever he wanted? Second, even bigger reason is that, good advocacy, good activism, by definition, is born of love. In my next video, I'll examine the last part of Dr. Holland's talk with special emphasis on the new sheriff in town moment where he introduces Clark Gilbert, and talk about how the ensuing drama has unfolded over the 4 years since that address. If you've enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube and follow me on TikTok.